If you're liking this Javi team and excited by the promise of it, then you're in good company. We've got three quite excited Hornets back with us on this episode of Where Hornets Walk. International break is here. That doesn't stop us talking about the games that have gone and, of course, the games to come. Hope you're doing well. We've got Luke and Rio back with us and, yes, fresh back from a month departure from this channel. Aaron, how are you? You found your way back?
I found my way back. Very good, thank you. Fresh off a trip to the States. So, yeah, back to the miserable weather, dark nights, and Watford ruining my weekend.
Coming up this week, lots of cries to just play back to 4-4-2. Keep it simple, please. What do the panel think about that? Kayembe's getting some more stick. We've got to stop with this, guys. Get the panel's view, of course, on that as well. Plus, we're also talking about where do Watford sit in the Fair Play League this season so far. The answer to that might surprise you, so stay tuned. And we're also continuing the A to Z of Watford. We're up to the letter F. We're going to ask Aaron to do all the work on that this week, given that these two have slaved over C, D and E last couple of weeks. Right then, Luke, 4-4-2. Should Watford revert to it?
I think they should. I think it's what previously worked under Javi many years ago, but when we have played it in the games that he's been with us so far, it's worked. And I think that we're kind of playing against ourselves, playing a five, especially at home when our record currently has been great and we've looked good playing four at the back. And I don't think there's many Watford fans who'd probably have any concerns about us playing a 4-4-2. I know it's as simple as it gets, but it works well for us. We've got the players to use it for, and I think it's not playing to our own benefit if we play five at the back. Keep it 4-4-2.
Yeah, there's lots of tweets on this. This one was from Lee. Aaron, he says, playing the back three was the issue. It just gated all the good progress that we made playing a fluid 4-4-2. Have you got it wrong against Bristol City? Frustrating that he went backwards trying this at home. It felt like Pesolano's setup and performance. Yeah, do you agree with that assessment?
I don't hate him going to it. I saw the lineup and I was sort of puzzling over trying to work out if he had sort of like Hugh Jordan players into a 4-4-2 or if it was a back three. Obviously, it turned out it was. I don't know if many noticed, but actually out of possession, we were in a 4-4-2. That's sort of how it shuffled round. If you looked at us when we didn't have the ball, Patrice actually went up and they sort of filled out. So I don't think it was a mile off how we had been playing. It was just more when we had the ball, they turned into a three to try and let the wing backs push on. And I think part of that would have been because Bristol City had a three. And part of it would have been, we've played so many games in a short amount of days. He had to shuffle it around. So people like Patrice were going to have to play. So I'm not as against it as I've seen some people have been. I think once it got to half time, and obviously it was back to 1-1, we had sort of begun to let Bristol City back into the game a little bit. I would have appreciated maybe some changes at half time. But as for actually setting up that way, I don't think it was as bad a decision as people are making out.
Yeah, some fans were just very direct, Rio. Yeah, as this one says, just sort it out. Thank you, GS. What's your thoughts, Rio?
Yeah, what's the name? It was a bit weird with the three centre backs. I don't think Elaine was the one who came in. And I don't think he had his best game, to be honest, on that side of defence. And once we took him off for Ince, actually, with about 15 minutes to go, and there wasn't any difference in how Bristol City were coming onto us. It was all us, and that's why I thought we should have got the win, because at home I think you've got to play more attacking. I can understand playing like with three centre backs away from home where maybe it's a point first, but considering Bristol City's injury crisis, I think we should have gone attacking as possible. And if you look at our last home game, Middlesbrough, it was perfect. Like Dimbier and Kieran Gard, they performed perfect partnership that game.
You mentioned Tom Ince there a second, Rio. Luke, this one came from Luke Gray. Says, disjointed performance, 2 points dropped. Please stop bringing on Tom Ince. Javi, yeah. It's fair to say he divides opinion. What's your opinion on Tom Ince?
I think we've got better quality, and I against Ipswich he weren't great at all. I think I was calling out for it the whole game. We needed to sub him off. I think the energy he has, it's good when you're playing a team where you're going to probably sit back a little bit more, but where we've been playing a lot more better now, and we've got more quality than we have in probably the last 2 seasons, there's a lot more better players that we can play in that position, and I think it's a little bit wasted playing Tom Ince there. I'd generally be serious. I would rather have Kayembe playing there, and that's a stretch, because I really just think Tom Ince's legs are gone. He hasn't really created anything much for us. I couldn't really name anything that he's done since he's scored that scream against City last season. I mean, just disappointed he keeps getting minutes.
Okay. You mentioned Kayembe. Let's come on to that discussion then, Aaron. I feel sorry for him every time there's a less than satisfactory performance. It comes on his shoulders. Is the criticism fair in your view?
I think a Friday night it was, to be honest. And I mean, I'd maybe go against what Luke said. I actually think Ince did a lot more than Kayembe did. And I think the problem we have with Kayembe is that when he comes on late in games and his job is to run around and he's sort of he's classed as sort of one of the attack, I guess, that front line to press them, then he's bearable. But whenever he gets put in a midfield two or put deeper in the midfield, it kills us totally. He needs 3, 4, 5 touches on the ball every time he gets it. He can't play off his right foot and he doesn't go forward. Every time he got the ball Friday night, it went backwards or sideways. And I get there's this thing with football fans like, oh, like they'll always want to go forward. And I understand you have to go those ways sometime, but he's so limited. I mean, especially when you've got someone like Loser next to him, it becomes so obvious what he can't do. That he drove me nuts Friday. I was constantly like smacking the bar in front of my seat every time he went back or sideways when he had something else on. It was it drives me crazy. I'm not one of these people that thinks he doesn't have any value. Like I said, I think as part of a squad who can come on in that front three when we're sort of, especially when we're seeing out a game, you just want someone with a bit of energy to sort of, keep it simple but get at them. Great. But he cannot be played in midfield. I'll never understand why, what has happened to Pierre Duomo. I get he had an injury issue at the end of last season, but I mean, every time he played, he was the opposite of Kayembe. He's looking forward. Yes, he's a young player. He didn't have, he wasn't consistent as such, but I won't understand with every manager we've had now, what is it that's keeping him off the pitch? Because compared to what Kayembe brings us when he plays deep, it's night and day.
Even Nampalys Mendy, he hasn't got a minute under Paolo. I'm not under Paolo, under Javi. I've forgotten who our manager is.
Okay. However, he wasn't the one who drew most fans' criticism. It's Rio. There was lots of calls for Baxter now to get a start. Dan says, kind of game which sums us up. That's why we're mid-table, lots of endeavour but little end product. Baxter's due a run now over Selvig, in my opinion. Lots of others saying, thanks to popping on wrists, just like in the final ball, Selvig should save that first goal. Thought we were done bashing goalkeepers on this channel. Now Backman's not part of the conversation, but has those posters got a point?
Yeah, I'll give it a few more games. I remember saying with Luke and the players we expect more from, I said Selvig, to be honest, because I think he's let it through. He's let a couple he's got a hand to it and hasn't kept it out. And now that's the third free kick he's been beaten from this season. Is he getting the wall wrong? Is he standing too much to one side? I mean, I think it's because of how good he was last season when he came in. We expect so much, and maybe that's unrealistic. I still think he's a good championship goalkeeper. I just think maybe he's a bit too casual for my liking. But on the other hand, you got Batman, who's all the way up there, so you just want a bit of an in-between.
Whilst I agree with the sentiment that he should have saved it, I do think that Patrice has got away scot-free, because I just thought what a needless foul it was to shove someone while they're running at speed towards the box. I mean, it was close enough to a penalty. It obviously wasn't, but he was so close to the line. It could easily have, if he took one more step within a pen. And when you've got Scott Twine on the other team, why on earth are you giving him set pieces in that kind of position? I thought Patrice, I don't think, it wasn't like he had a horrendous game otherwise. I just thought that one split decision was brain dead.
I thought going forward he was actually really, really good. But on the other hand, when Ngakia plays, he's definitely the more solid defensively.
Yeah, just looping back on what we talked about Selvig, and I think this is just in goalkeepers in general. I think goalkeepers is probably the hardest position to play in football, and it's definitely from a fan backlash perspective, because I'm thinking of it as well. With goalkeepers, you remember more their mistakes and good saves they made, because at the end of the day, that is their job. They should be making saves. You don't really think anything of it. He made a few great saves against Ipswich to keep us in the game. Don't get me wrong, that mistake is really really critical to us and was the reason that we didn't get the win in the end. But I think he's been really solid so far. When we have had Baxter playing, he's been okay. But I think it's just what Selby needs to work on. He just needs to work some free kicks. I think other than that, he's been pretty solid. And we look at it from having Backman a year ago. We're still in sort of dreamland, aren't we? But I do think, from a goalkeeper perspective, it's always tough to get right, isn't it? Because you're never going to win. Because you make an error, everyone remember it. You make a great save, everyone's forgot about it within a week. So.
Made a good one-on-one save from Armstrong in the second half as well. To be
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we may be revisiting that topic at some point in the next month or so. Finally, then, Wendover Horn says, "Can't believe some of the negative nonsense I'm seeing posted here. This is a likeable team which is improving all the time. There's greater things to come from it. Some people are just never happy." We're back to that. If people weren't happy, we wouldn't have a podcast, would we? That's the thing. We wouldn't have anything to talk about. Aaron, since we've been missing you the last couple of weeks, where are you at with this Watford side? Are they likeable?
I think they are, and I think it was actually partly Paolo probably making them a little less likeable towards the start of the season, just with how sort of the games were going and the way how negative we were when it comes to taking the lead and stuff. Right now, this does feel a little reminiscent of that Cisco Minos appointment, because he was questioned tactically his entire time, even when obviously we were playing well and we end up getting promoted. There was a lot of talk of, well, actually, Cisco sets us up very simply, and when we did lose, it was often a bit like it was always on the manager rather than the players. I think we've got a similar scenario. I think there's no doubt about it. This squad has got some really talented players in it, and Javi's approach is definitely one of those that sort of takes them under the wing. And I think he's definitely that man manager, that motivating presence. So yeah, I'm quietly confident at the minute that we can push for something, because obviously it worked last time, and Spaniards, nice guy. Maybe that's just what the formula is to get out of this league. Maybe it's just nice Spanish people. But yeah, I'm happy so far, and we'll see what the Christmas period brings. Obviously, it's always the brutal one, but yeah, I'm comfortable. I'm more comfortable than I was with Paolo.
Okay. Before we move on, thank you obviously for all your comments on videos last week, and thank you for helping us grow this channel. In particular, Daniel J confirmed this week he was not Daniel Jefferson, unfortunately, but shout out to you, Daniel. Dean Parsons, thanks for your comment as well, saying the podcast is dope. I'm not young enough to understand what exactly that.
I was searching that up. I didn't know whether it meant bad or good, but it means.
I think dope means.
Yeah.
Good, so thank you.
You still want to be called a dope, right?
Yeah.
Or smoke it, yeah. We don't. We reply to all comments and read every comment, so do drop us one if you've got any questions for lads, of course, as well. As we move into this very unfortunate international break. We're looking at the Fair Play League this week, so we're looking at the letter F. Luke, where do you reckon Watford sit in this, in terms of the disciplinary this year?
Disciplinary. So it's just cards.
Yellow cards, red cards.
Yeah. I feel like we've racked up quite a bit. I might put us in. I put us in the top 6.
I think you're right. Yeah, let's have a look then. You're actually the fourth dirtiest side so far. They are down at the bottom. There, Swansea, Derby, Southampton, then Watford on top of that. Dirtier than Millwall, and Preston and Blackburn. All those teams you would associate with them. Does that surprise you, Rio? Have you noticed your side being a little bit more tenacious?
We've got this. I was looking earlier, actually, even without seeing what the schedule was. We got the second most red cards this season, I think, because Loser got one against QPR and a bank against Coventry. I just feel maybe we're a bit of a silly team at times. Like we just make a few silly errors, which I could see leading to cards. But yeah, it doesn't surprise me too much. I think we're near the top of it last season.
Okay, all right. Finally, then this week we're looking at the letter F. In our A to Z, we stuck Elton in last week, I think, didn't we? Because we were running out of E's. Let's hope we can do a little bit better with the F's. Aaron, it's all over to you this week.
Yeah, well, I know that this was the F that comes to my mind straight away, and it is a player, and it's also a bit of alliteration. It's a double F. That is Fernando Forestieri. He's honestly, in sort of my time watching Watford, one of my favourite players. I don't know. He was always just so exciting, and obviously a bit of a championship cult hero. Did a lot for Sheffield Wednesday too. Scored that absolute screamer for him. But yeah, very important in 2012-2013 season with the Deeney goal, and definitely a player that I think Watford fans are fairly fond of. Looking back,
Luke.
I was going to go Firmino, or Kiko Firmino, a right back who I thought probably deserved much more for us. I think he was a very good player, and I would happily still have him in our team nowadays.
Rio.
Luke's taken mine, so I'll go foremost.
Sorry, Rio.
I'll go foremost Mendy, our number one centre back target. I think maybe it's a bit of a shame we're not seeing him in the squads currently.
Okay. Which one are we going for then out of that lot?
It's got to be Aaron's.
Aaron's, yeah.
Okay, all right. Brilliant. Let's settle that. Who would they forgotten though in the comments? Please, any stadiums or events that you mentioned. FA Cup, I thought might get in there, but you know, you just
nah, we've not won it. We can't put it in there.
I mean, you've come
Two
close.
final losses.
85. You know, you were very close. But,
Poor Arsenal.
Yeah. Right. Thanks so much for watching again. Have a good international break. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time, of course, to look ahead to Derby and other fixtures. So join us for that then. Thank you all for your support. Have a great one. Stay safe out there.